Welcome to Rappahannock Issues. I'm Tom Coen.
And I'm David Kerr.
And we're going to be looking at topics that are of interest to our community, both regionally and to the state. Welcome to Rappahannock Issues. I'm Tom Coen. A major element in our life is food, and farming is the key. And farming has been part of America since before our founding. And so it's appropriate for us to come out to the Silver Ridge Farm and talk about farming, particularly in Stafford County, but all across the country, is being challenged by different things and being helped by different things. So we're here at the Silver Ridge Farm with Jerry Silver. So thank you, Jerry, for having us out here.
Glad you could come.
And one element about the Silver Ridge Farm, it's a century farm, and which means it's been an active farm in Virginia for over 100 years. How many generations have been here?
My grandsons, who are 3 years and 3 months, are the 6th generation. So, been here a while. My great-grandfather came over here just after the Civil War and established this farm, and of course, handed on down through the generations.
Cool. How many acres is your farm? Because yours is sort of different in Stafford, is that you have a rather good number of acres.
Yes. Each year we plant about 450 acres of corn and beans, split equally. We rotate our crops each year, so what was in corn last year would be in beans this year and vice versa. We have about 150 acres of hay and pasture land, and of course there's a lot of timber and marsh as well.
And as well, you also have cattle that you...
Yes. We background calves, primarily heifers, to about 750 pounds, and then we put them in the feedlot. We generally feed out about 300 head of cattle a year. We have a custom slaughterhouse on the farm, so we sell freezer beef to whomever has a freezer and wants to buy a quarter or side of beef. And our excess fats, and we feed more cattle than we can sell through the slaughterhouse, so our excess fats are hauled to market for the local packers, or actually the packers in Maryland, Pennsylvania to come and bid on.
And so what would make generations of people want to be farmers and keep working the soil?
I think you got to just have it in your blood. I've got a brother who couldn't wait to get off the farm. Obviously it wasn't in his blood, but he's happy, you know, he had a successful career. I just didn't want to ever do anything but farm. And it's not for everybody. You've got to really love it. It's hard life, a lot of hours, a lot of difficulties, but if you like doing it, there's nothing any better.
And you also sort of build a rapport with your neighbors and your customers and whatnot. That just sort of is that personal connection.
Yes, and obviously I've been here for 71 years now, and our neighbors have changed over the years, outlived a lot of them, but try to get to know the new ones and make sure they know what we're doing, so if they wake up one morning as a cow in the yard or something other, they don't get too excited. And I think we get along very well with our neighbors. Try to greet each one as they get into the neighborhood and let them know what we're doing and what they might expect to see down the road.
Yeah, I mean, with the hay, that's a little bit harder to get in somebody's yard, but the cows sometimes.
Right, the cattle a little more mobile, yes.
What are the challenges that are facing farmers nowadays?
Oh boy, right here in Stafford County, our markets have moved. Fredericksburg doesn't have a grain elevator anymore. We don't have a feed store anymore. We don't have a fertilizer and chemical store. We don't have any way to get the supplies we need. We don't have a livestock market anymore, so in order to buy cattle, we have to go 50 miles. In order to sell cattle, we have to go 50 miles. But, you know, there's always a struggle with the weather, and Lord always takes care of us. In the end of the year, we seem to be all right, but it's always either not going to rain or going to rain too much or something like that. And then, too, the markets are, that's one of the hardest things I have trouble with is marketing my grain crops. We market most of the corn through the cattle, but the soybeans are strictly cash market, and it doesn't really matter what happens here. That doesn't affect the bean market, let's say. But if it doesn't rain in Argentina, or if it doesn't rain in Iowa, Indiana, then our grain markets are adversely affected. Or on the other hand, it might rain here and not rain there, it drives the price of beans up, and so we get a better price for our product. So there's a lot of issues that you have to deal with every year.
And with that, since it's sort of now global aspect, do buyers come to you, or how do you, if you have a soybean crop, how do you try to get it sold?
I get on the phone. I deal exclusively with Purdue. They are located in Tappahannock, and I just call them up and ask what they're paying, and they price it to me, picked up here on the farm. So that's the way I market my grain.
Cool. And is it sort of the same with the other products or stuff? I mean, some of the farmers will try to sell locally, to stores and whatnot. Is that a difficult thing to do, or is that becoming more easy?
Well, there's a lot more interest in that. We are selling directly to the public here, but you can't just walk into our facility and buy a steak or a hamburger. That's not the type of license we have. We primarily deal over the phone, word of mouth. For long-time customers, we've been selling beef to the slaughterhouse since 1975, so to speak, 75, 76. So we built up loyal customers. They pass it on to the kids, or they have the neighbors on for a cookout or something. So we do that. But there's a lot of interest in grain in the sustained marketing system and the local markets.
And with we'll go back to the steers and all. There's sort of a difference in the quality of what you get when you sort of buy it local than when you go to the grocery store.
Yeah, yes, I would like everybody to know that and believe that. One selling point we have is every piece of beef that you're going to eat for the next 9 months, a year, whatever it takes you, has come from the same animal. So you know who raised it, you know who processed it. Everything is done here. The grain is grown here, the cattle are raised here, the cattle are slaughtered and processed here. And our cattle are aged in the cooler. We don't just kill them one day and package them up and send them out. So we can give people a little better quality, I think, and handle it differently than you get in the store.
And you were saying that since there's fewer entities locally, people come here to try to with their cattle, or I think you also do pigs and lamb.
Yeah, we process that and sell that for folks, and we do processing for other people who are doing the same thing we're doing. We're selling freezer beef, they're selling freezer beef, and I don't know that we've gained a whole lot. It's just fewer farmers, fewer cattle. That's one thing that we're struggling. That's a major problem we have right now. One reason why the stockyard had to close. We just don't have enough cattle in this area. But we've been very fortunate in keeping our customers.
Well, we're very fortunate that we're out here on the farm, out in the fresh air. And so come back after the break and we're going to learn more about the different technological impacts on farming, as well as some of the impacts that development are making on farming. So come back after the break.